Hey everyone, it's Stephanie here, and today I have a video to share my April paper doll layout. This is a monthly series where I create a 6x8 layout featuring the Julie Nutting paper doll stamps, and I base my layouts each month off of a favorite movie or TV quote. So this month here, I'm going to be using one of my all-time favorite movies, The Breakfast Club, and creating a layout based on one of my favorite quotes from the movie. So to start off, I'm going to do my stamping. So I'm going to be using 5 different paper doll stamps for this layout because I want to imitate all 5 characters from the movie. And since there's going to be 5 dolls, it's going to be kind of tight space on the layout to fit everything in. So I decided to do this layout landscape, and I'm going to make it look like the dolls are standing or sitting behind a table in the finished layout. So we're not going to see their whole bodies. Since it's going to be landscape, I knew that it would be kind of tough to fit them onto the page with their full image. So I'm just stamping the top halves of their bodies, and then we're not going to see the bottom anyway, so it's not going to be needed in the final layout. So I went ahead and stamped 3 boys and 2 girls, and they don't exactly look like the characters from the movie, but I picked what I could to best replicate each of the characters, and I'm just going to color their hair so that it's kind of the same color as the characters, and I'm also going to try and duplicate their clothes as best as I can, either from something they wore in the movie or just to fit the personality from the movie. So I'm starting off by coloring all of their skin. I stamped all of the dolls with Memento Tuxedo Black ink so that I could color them in with Copic markers. And I'm just going through and doing all of the coloring of their skin and their hair. The skin I did first, and now I'm just doing the hair part. And I like to use the Copics because I can get a lot of great shading, and it just helps to make the dolls have more dimension and not look quite so flat once they're completely finished. So I'm just using some browns here to color in the boy's hair, and I'm kind of staying similar in color, but I'm changing up the color a little bit just so they're not all exactly the same. And then for the 2 girls, they have completely different hair. Claire has red hair, so I'm doing red tones in her hair. And then Allison has black hair, so I'm going to be using different grays and just kind of building up the color until I have it to the color that I want to make it look black. But I don't ever use just a black marker because it wouldn't give any shadowing or dimension, and her hair would look completely flat. So I like to start with light grays and then just kind of build up the color until I have it where I want it. And then once I have all of their hair colored, I'm going to go ahead and start to work on their clothes. So for my paper dolls, I like to paper piece their clothes. So I like to pick out pattern papers that I can use. And then I just go ahead and stamp the portion of the clothes that I'm going to be using onto the pattern paper and then cut them all out with scissors. It does take a little bit of time, but this is a creative process that I really enjoy. I have a lot of fun creating these pages each month and making them look similar to the movie that I'm using. And I like to just sit and cut everything out and put it all together. And I love the finished product when it's finished. And I keep all these in a 6x8 album, so I just love looking back at it and seeing all of the different layouts with the different quotes that I've chosen. So I went ahead, like I said, and stamped all of the pieces of the clothes onto the paper that I wanted. And I'm just going to go ahead and completely cut all of those pieces out. And now that I have them all out, I didn't film all of the cutting out. That would have probably taken forever. So I just went ahead and cut them out off camera, and now I'm going to go ahead and adhere all of their clothes on. So this is my favorite way to do this. I like to stamp all of the dolls onto the pattern paper first and then adhere all of their clothes. And then I like to cut everything out after I've done that. So I just use my scissors and completely cut the dolls out, and then just use my X-Acto knife for any of the dolls that have areas inside their arms that need to be cut out. So I'm just using my glue pen. This is the easiest way I found to adhere all the clothes because it gives you a little bit of time to kind of move around and position the clothes so that they fall within the lines properly. And I'm just adding all of the pieces onto these different dolls before I cut them out. And like I said, I picked out different patterns that I thought matched the characters. Claire, I put in like a heart pink dress because she's the princess of the group. And I put Allison in black, and I put Bender in a plaid shirt because that's what he's wearing in the movie. So now that I have them all cut out, I went ahead and printed my quote that I'm going to be using onto a pattern piece of paper to kind of replicate a wall. And I cut it down so that it's going to fit on my 6x8 layout. And now I'm going to go ahead and adhere it to the background piece so that it completely covers that. And then I can start to assemble the final layout. So I printed the quote, and I decided that I'm going to have all of the dolls underneath the quote under where they should be. So if you're familiar with the movie, as per the quote, that's what the characters are. One of them is a brain, an athlete, a basket case, a princess, and a criminal. And this is one of my favorite quotes from the movie that they say at the very end. So that's why I'm kind of positioning them underneath of what their character represents. So, and I wanted to kind of keep the characters, like, for example, Claire and Bender in the movie end up being an item at the end of the movie. So I kind of overlapped them together, but kept Claire center on the layout and put her so that she was adhered on top of where Allison and Bender are, just because she's the princess and she would have wanted to stand out in the group. So I kind of tried to position the dolls in the way that their characters would be in the movie. And then I probably put a lot more thought into these than I probably should, but I have a lot of fun, like I said, mimicking the movie and making it kind of as similar as possible. So now that I have the dolls all adhered, I went ahead and did the table part. I originally adhered this on so it stretched completely across the layout, and then I decided I didn't like that, so I took it off and kind of cut a little bit of the ends off. And then I'm adding a little strip of the wood pattern paper to the top to make it look like a tabletop. And then the pattern paper that I used has a little bit of distress and wear at the top area that you can see there. So I thought that worked perfect to kind of represent a table in the library, since that's where most of the movie takes place. And then once I have all of that done and the layout's completely adhered, I'm just going ahead and taking my gray Copic markers and going around and adding some shading to the clothes, and I'm going to add a little bit underneath the ledge of the table as well. And this just kind of gives everything more dimension and makes it not look so one layer. And especially for any of the clothes that aren't layered, some of the clothes I did put more than one piece to make the entire shirt, but some of them are just one piece of pattern paper, so the shadowing really helps to give dimension and make it look more realistic and not so flat. And then once I had that done, I went ahead and did what I like to take something from the movie on all of my layouts and put it on the layout somehow to pull the movie into the layout. And since this one is pretty full, there wasn't a lot that I could do, but I decided to put a diamond necklace on Claire because she is a princess in the movie, and that's kind of her personality. And at the very end of the movie, she gives Bender one of her diamond earrings, and that's actually happening just before this quote in the movie. So I thought it was a really fun touch to put a diamond gem in Bender's ear to make it look like the diamond earring that Claire gives him in the movie. And then to finish it off, at the end of the quote, they say, "Sincerely yours, The Breakfast Club." So I decided to handwrite that on the table with a black permanent marker. So that completes my layout for this month. I hope you enjoyed my process, and I will see you next month for another paper doll layout. Thanks for watching.